Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we're going to check out the Weak Finger G Chord. It's basically a two-finger G chord using just your third and fourth fingers. For many of you, you're going to find it a little bit tricky, and that's okay. But for chord changes involving C, A minor, and F, it's a really, really useful chord grip to get under your fingers. Many times the other fingerings for G chord will be better, but when this one works, it really works. So it's definitely one to check out. And it's great for developing a little bit of independence there with your little finger. So let's check out how to do it. So this is what the chord looks like. It is literally your third finger on the third fret of the thicker string and your little finger on the third fret of the thinner string. Just those two fingers. The other two, you don't normally like to splay them out like that. They're probably just going to hang around, but I didn't want you to get confused and think I was adding in some other notes. So that's the fingering, just those two fingers. So the first thing is, it's going to be a bit of an awkward stretch for many of you. It's fairly comfortable for me now. Right-handed, left-handed is a different story. But let me take you through what's going on. So third finger, third fret, thicker string, leaning over to mute the fifth string. So we shouldn't hear the fifth string at all. Little finger just down on the third fret of the thinner string. All of the other notes should be ringing clear. Now, a couple of things that you're probably likely to find. If you put your third finger down first and then your little finger, you're likely to pull the third finger down a little bit. And when you do that, it sounds pretty horrible. So one of the challenges you're going to have is putting the third finger down and leaving it exactly where it should while you put the little finger down. Okay, so that's challenge number one. Another way around it is to make sure you put your little finger down first and then reach out with the third finger. Again, you've got to be careful at this point not to push up with the little finger, because if you push up with little finger, again, you're going to have a few problems. Little finger will mute the second string and bend the note out of tune. So one of the challenges here is to try and get the fingers to go to be ready and to go down where they need to in the air. You know, talking about air changes we've looked at previously. Now, I mentioned already that it's a great chord to go to from a C chord. So you can see if we go C to G using second and third fingers, there's a lot of movement there. The whole kind of hand has to move shape or move where it's at. Whereas to third and fourth fingers, you can see there's really very little movement at all required once you get this chord change right. So to start off with, you want to be just working on getting the shape together. But as soon as you can, once you can play it, you want to start working on just going from the C chord, lift it up just a little bit, move your third finger over, little finger down, and change to that G chord. This is the most common chord progression that uses, or that, you know, why it's effective to use this chord fingering. So it's a really good thing to practice. I'm going to put it in your practice routine for perfect fast changes, just going C chord to this G chord and working on it over and over again, just doing the practice, trying to, you can see that my fingers are just staying in the air and then getting ready and dropping down. Of course, position is just as important as it is with every other chord. You want to get them right and close to the fret, not like here, right back. Okay, you want them to be right up next to the frets if you can. Just really slowly doing this practice, even without strumming, is going to be a good thing. But of course, the best thing is perfect fast changes. So C chord, nice slow strum, mute, get the fingers ready, drop them down, strum. You can check that the fifth string is muted if you need to. Just be careful of that, watching that third finger pulling down or little finger pulling up. That's why you want to try and get them in position to go down at the same time. Another great change to work on is our A minor to the weak finger G, because you can see there's very, very little movement there. Little finger's kind of almost waiting to go here. It's only got to move that little bit. I know I'm making this look kind of easy. I know that this ain't going to be easy for most of you. When you start doing it, it's going to be a struggle. I know I've got, you know, I did my left-handed practice this very morning, and it certainly didn't feel easy at all. So A minor to weak finger G is a good one to practice. F as well. You can see F to G here. This fingering requires a lot less movement than this one. As soon as I do that one, the whole arm and hand position has to change. Whereas this one to the weak finger G, you know, we've got C, A minor, F, G. They're real common chords together. So you can start to see why this weak finger G is such a useful grip. When you're practicing this, do work on getting that air change and avoiding pulling down on the strings. So, you know, if you start pulling the strings out of tune, it really doesn't sound great and it kind of defeats the purpose of having this different fingering. When it comes to choosing what fingering you want to use, you're probably going to use the one that you can find easiest. Now, right now, the fingers 2 and 3 one will be the easiest because you've done it more, and this weak finger G will feel a lot more effort. So what you want to do is put a decent chunk of effort into practicing the weak fingered 3 and 4 chord, so that the one that you choose in the spur of the moment is the most effective one, the one that requires the least amount of hand movement. The choice as to which one you do really is going to boil down to the one that feels most comfortable in the moment, and the only way to get this one comfortable is going to be repetition and practice. So really give it a good go, especially when it comes to the songs. You want to find some songs that are good ones for using the weak fingered 3 and 4 chord. Dreams by Fleetwood Mac is the obvious one because it's just F to G the whole way through. So it's a really great one. It's a beautiful song, but a great one to be working on for your practice as well. As usual, if you've got any questions about this or any other segment of this lesson, do let me know in the comments on the website. I do try and answer every single comment if I can. So let's move on and check out another chord.